Okay, I think this is working. Make sure we got everything set up the way it needs to be set up. Almost. Okay, let's see how that looks. See if we can't start rolling some putts here. Let's see. We just gotta go a little bit more back this way, I think. Well, once we have a more permanent setup in the new house, it will be a much improved setup for viewing, I'm hoping. Did get the chance to play 9 holes today on the par 3 course outside. It's always very exciting to be playing golf in March in the Northeast. Played a 3-ball best ball and got around in 4 under par, which was pretty exciting. Did I do this wrong again? Let's hope not. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just on my screen. Who could say? Okay. Make sure this is nice and straight there. Is it? There we go. No. Still struggling to get the camera angle kind of exactly where we want it. That's better. Look at that roll, end over end. This is exactly what we're hoping to see. Good strong start to the first set here of our practice session. If you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's check the chat really quick. Owen said, "You're so good at golf." Well, I don't know about that, but I do practice it a lot. One thing about being a good player is you become keenly aware of just how many levels there are, right? Like they say the difference between a scratch golfer and a pro is pretty similar to the difference between a a scratch and a 30 handicap, and it feels right. You learn just how good official do the dash. Like, comment, subscribe. Amazing. I mean, that's just a trifecta right there. Thank you so much. That's amazing. We are marching towards 500 subscribers. Again, I'm just so grateful for all the support. It's been crazy. I mean, we started this channel like the second week of January, so it's not even been 90 days yet. And to be, about to hit 400 subs and, well over 500,000 views on the channel is just, it's just pretty crazy. I'm just so grateful that, some of the stuff that I'm talking about has resonated, and I'm going to keep doing it. You guys keep showing up and supporting, and I'll be here doing my part. Let's check really quick. Brent says hello. Hello, Brent. Jack said W. W to you too, Jack. I always think of that Jameis Winston pregame speech when he was with the Saints. He's like, "We're gonna eat a W," and I don't think it landed. His teammates were kind of like, "Yeah, that's he's doing his thing," but he seems like an awesome guy, Jameis Winston. I've heard him on a few podcasts, and just got a new contract, I'm pretty sure, right, to go to New York. Bug says, I like eating golf balls. You might have different golf balls than I have, because I've never eaten one. And then, I'm sorry, I don't know what your name is, but someone said this is too easy. I will disagree with you only because of this drill station we have set up here. This trainer is on its most difficult setting. So even though this is more difficult than making it into the hole, is my point. So yes, I agree that just standing here hitting 6-footers all day might not be as effective from training my stroke. But combined with this training aid setup and the Pels tutor, it is a great way to get reps in on, especially for start line. So much of making short putts is about just starting the ball on line. I don't actually like eating golf balls. I just collect random golf balls. I found one near the Ohio River, and it's very bouncy. Yes, golf balls notoriously bouncy on hard surfaces, which is why it's very important not to hit into the group in front of you, because you don't want one of those hard surfaces to be another person. See, that one still went in the hole, but we missed the target. So that's a fail rep as far as the training practice goes. I don't hate the idea of edible golf balls, but would it be more like a hard candy kind of candy, or like a Reese's cup with peanut butter on the inside and chocolate on the outside, but more of a spherical golf ball shape? My preference leans towards the latter. Like, I think the chocolate and peanut butter would be better, but given, to Bug's point about the bounciness and hardness of golf balls, it does feel like a jawbreaker type candy would be maybe more appropriate. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you rather have chocolate or hard candy golf ball? Neither. It will be ice cream cake. That's just like next level thinking, truly, right there. That's, I was playing checkers, you're playing chess. Ice cream cake, golf ball candy feels like a home run. Just like, sign me up. We can all trademark it together. Whoever's in the stream right now, there's like 50 of us. We'll all get a piece, and we'll just all get rich selling ice cream cake, golf ball candy. I really don't see how it could go wrong. Yeah, I'll just wait for the checks to start coming. in the mail any day now. Some crispy, gassy lime water. Important to stay hydrated. Where are you guys all calling in from, joining the stream from? We've had a big international presence on the stream chat recently with people calling in from Scotland and Indonesia. That's been pretty cool. Just getting to interact with some people from all corners of the globe. Ah, just nicked it. Like a razor. So yeah, the game was feeling pretty sharp today. We went out on the par 3 course. It was a best ball, so we got a bunch of. All right, let's check it. Sign me up. I'll sell ice cream cakes that look like golf balls. Just give me that paycheck. Yeah, Bug's in. Bug's on the team. Callie Peterson's on the team. Nunya's on the team. Nunya said smash. Yeah, smash that subscribe button. We're just here. We're planning how to sell ice cream cake, golf ball candy, and I'll get rich. That's the current state of the stream. We've rolled a bunch of good putts so far, too. That's always pretty cool. Working really hard on my posture here. I just started feeling really hunched over, and I didn't like how it was starting to look. I was starting to get really kind of like this. So trying to find a little more length through my spine there. Have you ever heard of a Pepto-Bismol ad? I think I've seen ads for Pepto-Bismol, yeah. They're like, they sing that little jingle. Heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea, something like that. Is that what you were thinking of, Bug? Oh yeah, but just really quick. The video will be out probably in a couple weeks. But I went out and played a 3-ball best ball at the par 3 course today. So I had, 3 tee balls, but then I just played it in each ball from there. And managed to get that around in 4 under par. So that was a nice confidence booster coming off of the worst ball, the 2-ball worst ball scramble, which was truly a test of my patience. That was just such a tough challenge, but I did learn a lot. So that's always worthwhile. What did they say? You either win or you learn. I like that saying a lot. America. The Bill Murray pick is amazing. Oh, it's not Bill Murray. It's Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL. Yeah, sorry about the state of things. We're in the midst of packing in order to move, so things are a bit everywhere. You can see the walls are now barren like a cold winter day. But it's almost April, which you know what that means? You know what's in April? The Masters tournament. And that is something to get excited about. Really trying to keep this posture nice and tall. Lovely. Love to see it. The nice part is, now that I have just a nice routine, I feel like I could truly kind of just swap in a different putter, a different feel, just something different to look down at, and still be able to start the ball on my intended line with just a high degree of confidence. But feeling really good over the spider now. Like I said, 4 under today, doing a best ball, but still had to still had to make some putts and get the ball in the hole and hit some good shots, to give myself chances. So for March, I've never been this far. I've never been this advanced in my game and my preparation for the year as I have this year. So I was talking about it on the stream earlier, but I know for the last 10 years I've had very little time to practice, and I played about 30 rounds of golf a year. And in doing that, I stayed between like a +1 and a 0.5 handicap for the most part. So that's why I'm so optimistic about my goal for 2025 of reaching a +2.5, simply because it's a paradigm shift for me for how much I can practice. I've already, through the winter, doing mobility work every day. Really, in starting this channel, it's really recommitted me to my game. And, when you film yourself play golf, you want to play good golf. And I'm already capable of doing that, right, at a pretty high level. But why not see what we can do and take it to the next level? The hill to climb to get from 0 to +2 or +3 is so high, but I'm ready for it. I just, I'm not done getting better. What do you guys think? I want to do, so it'll be probably not for another few weeks, but what I'm going to start doing is like a daily stream where we do some speed training. I'll have a simulator in the new garage. So there'll be an awesome kind of dedicated space to stream and practice. Both, full swing stuff with the simulator, but also, hopefully a putting station like this. And what I'm thinking about doing is, call it, an hour, call it 5 days a week, and just get on the stream and do speed training and just hit a bunch of drivers, do the super speed. And we can make a video about it, combine a bunch of the, any cool moments from the live streams, and make a video about, where we started and where we finished, right? I think 30 days of committed speed training, I could make some pretty significant gains. And that's my goal for kind of that like early May into June timeframe. The next few weeks are about getting my chipping and putting, just knocking all the winter rust off. And that's mostly as it relates to lag putting, right? I've done tons of work already in the off season to sharpen up this part of my game, the inside 10 foot, the putts that you really want to have a chance to make range. But my lag putting, I just don't have a way to practice it currently. So there's no way, other than just the old fashioned wake up when the snow melts and start knocking off the rust. So that'll be exciting. April will be a bit hectic, but hopefully we can still find some time to put out some great content for you guys. Tell you what, the putting stroke is feeling pretty nice. Just consistently getting the ball started on our intended line. Still just trying to adjust to this taller posture. Again, I was so kind of bent over. But hey, if the putts keep going in, we're gonna keep doing this drill, because making putts on the golf course is fun. It's really fun. I like it. I want to keep doing it. What are you guys working on in your games? Hey, it's Clicks. Clicks is back. Yeah, of course I remember from earlier. I love when people come back, kind of like, I call them repeat customers, right? It's such a vote of confidence, right? Even maybe more than subscribing, which I know a lot of people already have done and who are in here. But somebody who saw my stream and then was like, you know what, I want to go back and see what he's talking about again and go hang out again. That's kind of like the most validation you could ever get, right? The analogy I think of is when I make dinner and my wife, without even saying anything, she'll have some whatever it is, and then she'll just, without saying anything, stand up, go over to the stove, and get some more, and go for seconds. And I'm like, man, that you nailed it if somebody's going back for seconds before you even have to say anything. That's a nice stroke right there. I do think the taller posture really helps just keep everything kind of in front of me, and just, I feel like it's got the stroke has a super nice kind of back and straight through pendulum to it. And I don't have to do any sort of manipulation or anything. It's just kind of flows on that track as long as I start it on the right, if I don't let it get inside on the takeaway. We're just rolling a lot of good putts right now. How's it going, Click? You have a good day? It's been a few hours since the stream earlier. This one I'm hoping will be a bit longer. My back holds up. Earlier we were kind of in between a couple different meetings and only had a few minutes to hop on, and but every time I do that, I'm glad I did, because I get to hang out with new people. Somebody new always finds the stream. Hey bro, you look like someone to ask, what's your opinion on the birdie putt mat? That question's from Sly. What's up, Sly? If you're talking about, I think it's the Birdie Ball, maybe, is their brand. They're kind of like the higher end indoor putting mats, putting greens. Sly, yeah, I think that's what you're asking about. I had one, and I think if I had used it more, it would have been a perfectly fine thing. I'm not convinced if your goal is to get better, it's necessary. I've made a ton of improvement in my putting just with a station like this, with a gate, right, and a way to practice, setting my putter square to my target line. And this is a path trainer that I have underneath, so I have a guide for kind of the arc I want the putter flowing on. And this is a super cheap, like 7-foot Amazon strip putting, cheap plastic. It was like $19. And that is really just to have a visual and to like fill up the space. I truly think you could, without even a cup or a target, make a ton of progress just with a station like this, on a carpet even, and just stand here and try to roll the ball through the gates. I like the Pels Tutor because this is a pretty it's a scalable drill. Number one, if you're just starting out, you can move these ball bearings back a bit, give yourself a wider target to work through, and then narrow it up as you get more proficient. I just keep mine on the narrowest setting at this point. So that's my opinion on the training aid golf mat question. I think it's a good product. I think I when I had one, it seemed like it was high quality and it would last. Yeah, no problem. No problem, Sly. Happy to help. Again, that's what this is for. Just hanging out, sharing perspectives and experience. Clicks. Yeah, glad you had a good day, bro. Yeah, I did. Like I was saying earlier, maybe before you hopped in, but I got outside and played 9 holes on the little par 3 course and did a little best ball challenge. It was pretty fun. So I feel like anytime I get to play golf outside, that's pretty cool. Jack asked, what would be my top tips for beginners? Great question, Jack. I think, well, tell me a little bit more about are you like a true beginner, like you've never played golf before? Or like what's your rough level of background or experience with a golf club? That might help kind of tailor. While he works on that, I think my top tip, I was saying earlier, a couple things. You have to work on speed. So like at some point, if you want to, you know, get better at golf, you have to be able to hit the ball a decent distance. But I don't think you have to start there. You can, okay, let's see. 1 year of par threes and a summer of executive courses is my experience. Okay, so you've been out on the golf course, you've hit balls, you've been to the driving range. You probably have your own clubs. So again, I just want to have a sense of, where your starting point is. My best tips, let's start with some easy ones. You have to learn how to hit your irons properly, which means that you're, hitting the ball first with the handle forward, right? And you're hitting the back of the ball before you hit the grass or the tee. You're making good solid contact with your irons. And that's really a prerequisite for learning, how far you hit it, being able to consistently, hit it on the green and have putts for birdie and then for par. So to me, learning what contact feels like properly is, something that golf instructors should teach everyone first. Like before you learn where the swing goes, what the hands do, like just hit shots, from like waist to waist with a 8 or a 9 iron. And you're trying to hit them like, I don't know, 70, 80, 90 yards. But you want to get that feeling of like, oh, I really clipped it. And you'll start to learn, oh, I really hit that one nicely. Or like, oh, it was a bit thin. I hit the ball first, or with kind of the bottom of the club, or it was a bit heavy and I hit the ground first. And start developing that skill, right? That ground contact skill, so that when you're striking the ball consistently. And only then do I think you should really start, like trying to add a bunch of speed. And you see everybody at the range, like, grabbing a 4 iron and they're trying to like swing it over their head and stuff. And, so I don't think that's a good way to learn. I was talking earlier in the stream, Clicks, this might resonate with you, from earlier. I don't think you can change your swing or like make improvements at full speed. So like, this is a 9 iron. Like I can't stand there in the range and be like, okay, I'm going to hit this, 158 yards and try to change my swing, or like, work on my rotation or whatever it is. You have to separate those things. You can change your swing or you can swing at full speed, is my opinion. So that's my main advice for beginners, is just learn, what solid contact feels like. Then start working on some speed. You have to be able to hit a driver. So no matter what, people say drive for show, putt for dough. It's not true. Driver is, one of the most important clubs. So learning how to hit driver in play, right? So you get to a point where you can hit that club not in penalty areas, right? Except for, a rare occasion. And if that means you have to dial your speed down to 80% or 85 or 90%, to find a shot or a shape that you can keep in play. Those are kind of the two things I would start with. You'll start having a much better time when you're not hitting it, into water hazards, and when you're not, sculling your 9 irons over the green. But again, I think both of those things start not at full speed. So hopefully that helps, Jack. It was a little bit of a long-winded answer. Jake B asked, what are some tips for getting spin on short chip shots, like 20 to 30 yards? Great question. I'm not a short game guru by any means, but in my experience, or if you said, hey, you got to hit a 25-yard pitch to like a front pin and get a ton of spin on it, like what are you going to do to make that happen? If we start with a baseline that like your regular pitch is like a pretty square, for me, like maybe a tiny bit open kind of swing, for a medium height, medium spin, standard kind of chip pitch shot. If I wanted to add spin, what I would do is open my stance just a tiny bit more and open the face a bit. I would have a pretty neutral shaft angle here. Again, this isn't perfect because I have a 9-iron, but and then I think the key thing for control, adding spin and controlling distance on those short shots is you have to get some energy into the club like early, right? You can't hit a spinny shot with like a really slow, like deliberate kind of chip shot. Like I don't. Maybe you can, but that's not in my experience kind of the best way. So you get a bit of energy into the club, and then just kind of decelerate is not the right word, but then you're kind of managing your speed into the ball to hit it the right distance. But because you've already you've got that energy into the club, you need speed to create spin, right? So the idea being you can hit like a pretty high speed shot, relatively speaking, for a 25-yard shot that would create more spin than usual. So hopefully that helps, Jake, with the the adding spin question. But generally speaking, I think most people would be better off just practicing like like I have a 20-yard shot, and I go out and I walk off 20 yards, and I can say like, okay, I can hit it 20 yards pretty regularly, and then I go back and I say 40 yards, and then you make those intervals smaller, right? So then you say 25, 28, 30, 33. That sort of thing. And you just kind of scale your practice from there. Yeah, of course. Sly says, just started 2 months ago. Congrats, because starting out in golf is awesome. It is the best game to learn, and you can play it your whole life, which is amazing. Like I was saying, I think just, learn some solid fundamentals, and I think the best thing I would tell people, like if you're just getting started out at golf, learn how to swing from like just past maybe like your ribs to your ribs. Like anything that happens way up here, past your head, past your shoulders, isn't going to help your swing. You might hit it occasionally further, but you're just not going to hit it solid, especially if you're just starting out. And I see so many, like newer players on the range, and they get up here and they're like swinging like this, and they're like, just praying that they reach a good impact position. And I think so many people would be better served by being taught, like, go hit a 9-iron 100 yards, and then learn how to hit it straight and pretty solidly. And just feel and like learn what that like proper impact position feels like. I made some videos. You guys can go check it out on the channel. And just about, this one drill that I especially like for impact. And it's about presetting your impact position, right? So, getting the handle forward, you're in a good striking position. Your hips are open. There's plenty of room here for you to swing. And then, you preset that position, and then you start, you do kind of like start with a half swing, right? And then, hit a few of those. Get back in there a little bit longer, 3/4 swing, and then just go from there. To start to, learn, like, what does it feel like, right, to maintain my spine angle, while my hips are moving, kind of back and to the left of me. And that's just where you start. That'd be my best piece of advice. To just, learn contact and impact, and then start adding speed. Then start, worrying about making the swing longer. Oh, thanks, Chris. That's validating, because I don't teach, and I'm not a PGA professional. I'm just a largely self-taught, relatively high-level player who is addicted to golf like most of us are. And yeah, that would be my best piece of advice. I just don't think good things happen for most people, like past your shoulders. Like nothing accretive is happening like way over here. John Daly might be the best athlete alive to be able to hit the ball with that swing, but most of us aren't. Trying not to get lazy with the posture. I've been just feeling too hunched, so I'm trying to keep this. Maybe Chris could give me his opinion. Anything in the posture here, Chris, that you would? That's what I've been pretty focused on. Just being able to, not have to do all kinds of manipulation on the way back with the stroke to keep it kind of on a nice plane outside my hands here. My tendency used to be to kind of let it get inside and then have to either hook it or hit a bunch of blocks. I mean, the results are good, so I'm not really inclined to mess with it too much, but that is what I've been focused on, is not getting so much like this and trying to keep a little bit taller. Yeah, John Daly, Brooke Henderson, exactly. Steve says, range of driver, my mindset is whack it hard. I'm realizing that's not it. My ball makes a right hand U-turn. Yeah, I think most people are familiar with that hard, left to right slicing shot, especially if you're a beginner. There's a reason why there's so much like how to stop slicing, how do you hit a draw? Like there's so much of that stuff out there. Strategically, I don't think you're necessarily wrong, because the idea with driver is to advance the ball as far as possible while keeping it in play. Doesn't need to be in the fairway necessarily. However, I think, Sly, if you're just getting started, it's important to develop enough speed early on that you can, build on it. And you gotta remember, there's two different ideas with a driver. There's how fast, how far am I hitting it? That's largely like we're talking about, club head speed, and then you can talk about optimizing launch conditions and stuff, but it's not really relevant for beginners. Posture is mint. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been working pretty hard on the posture. So Sly, separate those two ideas with driver, right? Sometimes when you're practicing driver, you want to be like, I want to hit it far and hard and make a bunch of swings in a row to develop that speed and just feel comfortable. I don't care where the ball is going, but I want to build some speed and work those muscles. That's one bit of training you can do. And then kind of the exact opposite is like more of an execution training, right? Where you're, going through a pre-shot routine, stepping up to the ball, intentionally, and you're really trying to understand what your dispersion pattern is like. When I hit driver, I pick a target, right, that I've largely predetermined, or for golf course, I know what the lines are, and I might adjust that target based on the shape or the curve of the ball that particular day. But for the most part, I pick a target, and then I understand that I'm aiming a cone, right? I don't have a sniper rifle to shoot my ball and pick a spot, right? I have a huge dispersion, probably 60, 70 yards wide, right, of where the ball could end up. So I'm not really trying to curve the ball. But that said, I think for most people, if your ball does curve a lot, don't work on practicing like draws and fades with your driver. I think that's a terrible idea. I think you should just find one shape or one shot. For me, it's like a pretty straight one that you play exclusively. It's just, I think there's enough data to show that like you just have to hit it as far and keep it in play. That's my 2 cents on driver. But when you're just starting out, you want to, you know, learn that, again, that same idea about like center contact, right? I mean, you don't have to, it's a longer club, so it'll feel awkward, but, you know, you can make those slow swings with a driver and, you know, just do those slow. I don't really have space in here. I don't want to smash some stuff, but, you know, make those slow swings. And a great idea or a great drill that, you know, my coach I worked with most recently, once I finally could afford one, he would have me hit, like, you know, just in my mind, right? Like, be like, you know, what I was working at the time was more rotation, you know, in my lower body while maintaining my spine angle. And I'm still working on that, kind of fighting against early extension. But anyway, I would go hit 6 irons and try and hit them like 100 yards. And, you know, just go really slow and be like, exaggerate. What do you want it to feel like? Well, I want my hips to be super open, and I want, you know, like really maintaining my spine angle, or whatever it is for you. And so if you're working on driver and you're saying, oh, I got to work on finding the center of the club face. That's the, you know, one of the more important ways to optimize your launch conditions, right? Is just hit it out of the center of the face. I think it's a good idea to do that at less than full speed. And then, you know, work on adding some speed to that. Like if you got to dial it down to 60% to where you can regularly find the center of the face, then you know, make a bunch of swings at 60% until you're regularly like, okay, that's what it feels like. I'm you know, they're slow, but I'm hitting it out of the middle. And then, you know, once you're at a comfortable stage there, try 65 or 70%, and just add speed. But again, if you're a beginner, you're not going to have a good time if you're not hitting the ball on the club face, like most of the time. Jake said, you have a flat swing, looking to get my swing more upright, but having a hard time adjusting and feeling comfortable doing it. Yeah, I think Chris nailed it. You know, test the different angles, you know, on you know, giving yourself a physical, like, oh, it was too flat, you know, I hit the stick. I also like the idea, and I'm stealing this from John Sherman's book, but like fight fire with fire, right? So if you're like, oh, my swing's too flat, I don't like how it looks, go to the range and be like, what's the most, and you got to do this on video or something, right? You know, for frame of reference, but just go and be like, well, I'm going to try and hit 10 balls with like the most upright swing I could possibly make. And I'm going to know it will feel terrible, right? It's going to be uncomfortable. I won't like it. But if you did that, you know, if you made 10 or 20 swings saying like, I want just the most upright, like steep swing, you know, backswing, you know, I'm trying to add some vertical angle to my axis. That might be one way to do it. But again, if you know, that's more of a fight fire with fire approach. But what you're hoping to feel if your swing is too flat would be more left shoulder down in the takeaway, right? That will increase the angle of your swing, you know, relative to the ground. That's all we're talking about. Where steep versus flat, right, is relative to the ground. What's up, Trapper? Trapper's a cool channel name. Yeah, I don't know if Chris has anything to add to that. But hey, it's validating that a PJ Pro's in here being like, you aren't like a complete nutcase of what you're talking about in here. See if I can still successfully navigate the. Nope, can't do it. Not with a 9-iron. That's going to be tough. It would take a lot of practice to get proficient on a Pellis Tutor with a 9-iron. It's been hard enough with a putter. Left shoulder down, good cue. Yeah, happy to help. John does a great job. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Chris. That's super nice. I feel well equipped to talk about most of this stuff because I've dealt with almost all of these problems. I mean, at one point, I had a swing that was so flat, it was like around my waist. And I used to hit these slinging rope draws like all the way through the bag. I mean, my stock driver was like a 50-yard draw. Because my old swing was just like literally just wrap it around your waist basically and flip it and just have a consistent something. So I've done a lot of work obviously to correct that. But my point being, I've dealt with a lot of these issues in my own game and found ways to diagnose them and improve on them, which is what I think most of us find so addicting about golf, right? Like you can always get better. The chase and the journey and the work that goes into it. And again, I remember what it was like being like, okay, I want to find the middle of the face. Like I just am not hitting my irons super solid. And now I'm far enough into my journey of like, okay, how do I hit a 70-yard shot with 3 different clubs? Because I might need to do that at some time. But I still remember what it was like to be starting out and being frustrated, not hitting the ball solidly. And just, the amount of time and effort that went into learning that, the wrong way and then doing it the right way. And, so that journey and that quest for improvement, I really think is what's so addicting about this game. Plus, there's nature. It's outside. There's so much to be grateful for anytime you get to play around in golf. My swing used to be fairly flat as well. You could put a waiter's tray on my left hand at the top. That's funny. A game that is impossible to perfect, no matter how good you are. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, if you, after you turn off my stream, after you subscribe, don't forget to subscribe. I'm getting better at learning how this actually works, and you have to ask people, to subscribe. But you can go right now on YouTube and watch Tiger Woods top a drive. I think it was like 2008 or 7, out in Dubai, maybe some kind of strange tournament on the European tour. But just stone cold top the drive off of the first tee. That doesn't make him not Tiger Woods. He's still Tiger Woods. He's still, the GOAT. But we're all human. Golf is impossible to perfect. We're not robots. And that's what makes it so compelling. Clicks asks where I'm from. USA, brother. Up in the northeast part of the country. It's still cold here. I have a tee time on Saturday, and there's snow in the forecast, so I'm not sure how both those things are going to go together, but we're going to find out. Yeah, this posture, it feels so different. It feels like I'm miles away from the ball, but I think I just used to be so kind of hunched and like collapsed in on myself. And it just is taking a lot of adjusting. It feels like I'm like visually just like I'm a mile away from the ball. But the results seem to be speaking for themselves. So, not to mention, I think there is a reason why good putters all look pretty much the same, right? Wow, I mean, just the traction even tonight has been incredible. I'm just so grateful for all the support. I'm going to keep saying it. If you guys keep showing up for me, I'll keep showing up for you. Because barring something tragic, I have no intentions of ending my golf career anytime soon, or, I have pretty crazy aspirations. I mean, I would love to like make it to match play in a USAM as a, middle-aged person with a career who's not a Division I golfer. But like, I just don't, like, why not me? I mean, I just have no reason. I've never been able to figure out like there's no physical skill. Like I have enough speed to compete at that level. Um, it's just reps. It's short game and putting, and having the ability to commit. Eyes are directly over the ball. That's where you need to be. Luke Donald is great as a reference point. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris, because Luke Donald in his stroke, he releases his head pretty aggressively from what I remember. Like he almost had this kind of like he was keeping his all the way through like the top of his head and really releasing it on the way through, which isn't my favorite feel, but from a setup perspective, so I completely agree with you. I mean, I like to think of like Kevin Kisner too. I think has like just an awesome, like really neutral, setup position with a putter. If you've been watching TGL, I'm not going to make any other references to Kevin's game because I don't think he's practiced much. And I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that. Sly and Clicks. Thank you very much for the subs. That's awesome. OG tickets still being handed out. I think until you get 1,000, you get an OG ticket as like a, I was there at the beginning. So get them while they're hot. He made the cut of the Valspar. Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, like it ain't no hobby, right? He's still got it in him when he wants it. Jake asked, what's some of my best accomplishments in golf, competition or personal? On the personal side, my lowest score is 64, which I'm really proud of. That was, an easy golf course, and it was from 6,000 yards, but, you still got to get the ball in the hole with a double bogey, by the way. So I think it was 6 under with a double. So that was pretty cool. Just all those, like, I still remember, I was however old, 13, 14, 15, something like that. The first time you break 90, the first time you break 80, the first time you break 70, all that stuff. And so, but mostly my memories in golf are about like the people that I share the rounds with. Like I've been fortunate to, my college teammates and I still do a trip every year, and get to play some awesome golf courses and also play pretty seriously or competitively. So I really value the time with the people, if that makes sense. That's not necessarily an answer about like accomplishments. In terms of accomplishments, like I was runner up in a club championship, that I lost in match play, on 18 in the championship match. So those are fun moments too, to think back on, and I think when you start playing tournament golf, you need those moments to fall back on, right? Especially under pressure, to be like, no, I've been here before. I've hit great shots and I've hit terrible shots. But again, that's why I personally love competition in tournament golf, because until you're there in the moment, you have no idea what's going to happen, right? I missed out qualifying for a state am by a shot because I was, 2 under through 16 holes, triple bogeyed the 17th, and then birdied 18 to still miss by a shot, right? So you have these crazy, swings, and like, I could play that hole 100 times. I'm not going to make a triple the same way I did probably ever. But I have that experience to fall back on the next time I'm under the gun, trying to make a number, post a number. And am I still in college? No, Clicks. I wish. I'm 30. I'm on the wrong side of 30. Which is okay, which is great. I mean, life is good. I'm physically in much better shape now than I was even at 25. I'm much happier. Been sober for almost 4 years. I just passed 4 years of alcohol-free lifestyle, which is great. So, other than being a little more stiff and sore, being 30 is great. I have tons of life experience to draw from. Like I was just talking about, in tournament golf, being in those moments and whether you're at your best or not, having that experience to draw on is important. So, is this still on? Yeah. So that was a long-winded answer to your question about accomplishments in golf, but 64 was really cool. I would love this to post a lower number than that someday, and maybe on a bigger golf course or but I just until 6 months ago, I had a career that didn't allow me to practice or play any more than that, and without that constraint, I am pretty excited. Yeah, see, my tendency is to do this, and I have to catch myself and be like, nope, just stand up. Like there's a string on my head here. Yeah, that felt good. It feels more like there's more, maybe it's my core stability. Like I don't want anything moving except for this triangle with my shoulders. That's what I want to feel. Okay, nice. New breaking series for the channel. It's not a bad idea, Chris. Breaking 64. But it would just be every round, right? Like I don't know, my closest number since then is probably like 67. So I mean, yeah, conceptually we could title every video Breaking 64, but I do like the idea. I just am trying to be realistic about, at least until there's a stronger body of evidence. Like if I wake up and start shooting, 66 regularly, which could happen. I mean, I'm optimistic about my game. I think that would be asking a lot without another couple of years of this amount of practice. But it's not a bad idea, Chris. It's really not. It's really nice watching and hearing tips from you and Chris. Oh, thanks for checking out the stream, Clicks. That's awesome that you came back. Oh, did I miss that comment? You look really young for your age. I'm thrilled to take that comment. I'll take that comment every day. One thing that I haven't yet talked much about on the channel, but to that point about looking young and taking care of yourself, I'm going to start making, it'll be relevant more once the sun is actually out, but I feel so strongly about how golf under talks about sun protection. Like for a sport that you play for 4 to 7 hours outside in the sun all day long, all summer, we have to talk more about sun protection and wearing sleeves and using sunblock and making sure that sunblock is available at golf course. This is an easy one that we can help protect people, and we just aren't doing it. So I'm gonna start talking about that more. That's on me. It's just hard in the winter when you don't feel the sun. To be like, don't forget to take care of yourself with the sunblock. But once it becomes relevant, I mean, you guys will see me wearing big bucket hats and sleeves. Part of that's because there's lots and lots of money invested in painting my skin the way it is. But even aside from that, I've lost people close to me to skin cancer, and it's just no joke. So that's my soapbox for tonight's stream about taking care of yourself. It's not uncool to be the guy who's like, wait guys, we're not going to the tee yet. I gotta put my sunblock on. That's not uncool. That means you're taking care of yourself. That's no different than going to the gym and bench pressing, or going to therapy, or going for a run, or doing yoga or Pilates. These are all ways that you can take care of yourself and your body, and it will pay dividends. It's like brushing your teeth, right? Your teeth don't fall out if you miss one day of brushing your teeth. But if you don't do it for 20 years, bad things will happen. And conversely, if you go outside and you get a sunburn once, it's not good, but you might be okay. One last question. Are you streaming tomorrow? I don't know. Should I do a stream tomorrow? I've been pretty infrequent about doing these streams, but if people like them, I'll keep doing them. I certainly could schedule a stream for tomorrow. I should have been keeping track because I feel like it's been a while since I missed. I've had a fail rep on the Pels, and because the record on the stream is 47 in a row. And I just feel like with these improvements that I've made recently, that might be in danger. We might be doing breaking 47 with clicks tomorrow night, just to put this to the test. All right, maybe we'll try and do another stream tomorrow. I don't know. It's always so hard to know what a good time is. People are dialing in from everywhere. But yeah, I know I should definitely do more of this because number one, it forces me to practice my putting, which who doesn't need that? Oh, speak of the devil and he shall appear. And I think this is just fun. I mean, I get to interact with people. Jacob said, "Nice, bro." Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, welcome to the stream, dude. We're just hanging here talking about all kinds of nonsense, golf stuff. Had some great questions, from some newer golfers. Oh, that's 2 in a row. Gotta lock it in. Had a PGA Pro, Chris, in here, chatting with the people. That was awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just such a good way. It's so different than posting videos, where you get the chance to be like, well, I can, make sure this looks perfect or edit this or blah, blah, blah. I mean, when you're live streaming, I think it's just you. There's nowhere to hide, right? If, there's like 100 people in here right now. I mean, there's no manicuring it, right? It's just you and basically you're on stage performing. So it's just different. I think it's hard for me. I think of myself as someone with like, moderate social anxiety. So this is much more difficult. I mean, if I given the choice, I'd rather spend, 5 hours editing and making videos than 1 hour of this. But again, I was talking about earlier, like you have to feel uncomfortable to grow. So I'm not going to get good at this if I don't do it. And I think that's true of everything. Maybe there's a different way to build skills, but it's just not my style. Like I wanted to learn how to make YouTube videos. So now I posted like 250 of them. Like you just have to start. See you, Clicks. Thanks for hanging out. Sly asks, any key points on how to find a line for putting? Still trying to figure that out. So Sly, clarify for me, is your question about reading the green, like where to aim it? Or is your question about like, once I have my target, how do I aim my ball or my putter? Does that make sense? Which, are you talking about like reading the green? Oh, Chris is going to record tournaments. I don't know if I could play tournament golf knowing that it was also going to be on camera, Chris. Maybe if I could incognito get someone to be like, hey, you're going to, show up at this tee time and record this guy, but make sure he doesn't see you. Like if they were like ghillie suited up from the woods recording me. Maybe that could work, but I don't know. Just feels like a big ask. But more power to you. I'd love to, I'll drop you a subscribe back right after we're done here and check out the tournament golf videos. That'd be awesome. One thing that makes it, as an avid consumer of YouTube, I think that definitely makes being a creator on YouTube easier. It just, you get a sense of like what people are doing, what other people are making, what works for the audience, all that sort of stuff. Some one-handed putts are always a good drill, especially while you're hydrating. So Sly, if your question is about reading the greens, the first thing that comes to mind is like just practice is how I learned, right? Was just like find a practice green at your local public course should have a green where you can practice and just bring out half a dozen balls and you go, and maybe you start 10 feet from the hole, right? And start by saying like, okay, I got down and I looked at it, and I think it's going to break a little bit to the right, and so I'll aim it out to the left, and then if it does break, what you're trying to do is match up what's going to happen on the green, right, over those 10 feet, how much the ball is going to curve because of the break, with what your eyes see. And I'm going to add to that, what I've started doing, or you see guys, on TV do, is this aim point thing where they'll get in there, and I think this helps, especially for newer players, just to like feel like which way is it going to go. And you stand. So if this is my intended line, right, or that's where the hole is, you put one foot on either side of the line that's between you and the hole. You just kind of look ahead, and you feel in your feet, right? Use your body's natural ability to understand what's around you. Is if the weight is more on my right side, right, that means that foot's lower. That means gravity's pulling me to the right. So that means the putt should break to the right. And there's a whole system about, how much break you play based on how much you feel in your feet. But if you're just starting out, just try to get a feel for like what the ground underneath you is doing. And you'll start to learn like, oh, okay, my heels are lower, or I'm kind of sinking into my heels and my toes are coming up. It's probably an uphill putt too, right? So maybe it's uphill and breaking to the left. And I start to feel that in my feet. That has helped me recently. I just, I never felt like I was a particularly bad green reader, but the aim point just, it removes the doubt, right? You just know, okay, that's my target, and I aim it there, and I don't think about it anymore. So that to me has been beneficial for, picking lines on the green. And let me just check one thing really quick here. Oh, we're so good on battery. Jake asks, how do you feel mentally in tournament play? I turn into a head case on the first tee, then mellow out. How do you combat those nerves? It's a good question, Jake. I think it's something that we're all trying to get better at, right? I don't, the reason that people feel nervous in tournaments is because they care. And that's, so my perspective is a little different in that I like feeling nervous because I'm like, oh, I'm juiced up. This means something to me. And I try to turn it into a way to focus. So I think it's actually easier rather than saying like, how can I feel less nervous, right? If you're present and you're aware of what's going on and, saying, I can acknowledge that I'm feeling nervous and I can still go out and play great golf. Those two things can coexist. And, that was really a huge breakthrough for me personally, to just like stand there and be like, wow, even if you say it out loud and be like, well, I'm shaking over this putt. Like, I'm really nervous. I've made putts. I've hit great shots. Where you feel terrible, right? You're like, I don't even know how I got the putter back. How did I? And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the ball's going in the hole, right? Because you've trained yourself to execute. And it won't happen all the time, right? Sometimes you'll feel the pressure and you'll make a terrible stroke and miss the putt, or you'll hit a bad shot when you really needed it under pressure. But again, it's just reps, right? So the next time, it's like a sensory exposure kind of thing, right? Like if somebody pinched you on the arm once, you'd be like, oh, maybe it's really annoying and it hurts. But if it happened over and over again, you would become desensitized to it, right? So each time you're in a tournament and you feel those nerves, you're a little more prepared for the next time. You felt it before, right? You have more experience with that sensory exposure. So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for. If you want a way that I found it to try to mitigate some of the effects of that, breathing exercises like box breathing are really good for, again, just general like calming yourself down, or reducing anxiety. And that's just a pretty simple, like 4 count, breathe in, hold for a 4 count, breathe out for a 4 count, hold for a 4 count, and then repeat. That's called box breathing, or a 4-4-4-4 method. That is like an actual technique you can use. Right, and do that breathing exercise, before you hit that shot. It's a great way to start to feel present, right? And there are other ways that you can teach yourself. And I'm still working on this stuff, right? These are things that I'm actively learning about. So I want to clarify that, and so I'm not sounding like an expert. These are things that I'm also working on, Jake, to try and play better in tournaments, and work on this stuff. But another thing I was going to mention is just this idea of feeling present, right? And there are ways you can say, like, oh, what does it feel like? What does the ground feel like under my feet, right? And if I can tune into that, then I'll get some confidence, right? Because I know my body's like with me. We're on the same page. That's an easy, there. What does it look like when the leaves on the trees are blowing, and that makes me feel relaxed because I'm out here in nature enjoying a nice day. And yeah, we're playing a tournament. That's pretty important, but it's not the end of the world. And like, look how nice it is outside. We're out here having a good day. That I think is, again, I'm still working on that. I had so many rounds of like the 2 under par through 15 holes just to post a 75 in tournaments, because I just couldn't get past the mental block of like, don't mess it up, don't mess it up, don't mess it up, just white knuckle at home, and it just doesn't work. So I just in the search of something better, you have to do something different. So that's what I'm working on. I expect it will be hard, because I'm prone to being anxious and overthinking things anyway. So golf for me is like a mental test as much as anything, and just that idea of being present, I think, is what I'm most trying to work on. Another thing I'll mention, Jake, that I am going to really work hard on implementing this year is how I evaluate my rounds, right? And doing that on video helps too, because you get to look back and say like, oh, I was really paying attention here, or whatever. But evaluating myself not on like, what was the score I posted, or how many good shots did I hit, or how many putts did I have today, but more like, was I really committed to my process? Did I pick good targets and feel committed with the choices I was making? Did I make good strategic decisions, and have it be more of an evaluation about process than it is about outcome, right? Because we all know the truth. I mean, you could have a terrible process and hit great shots, and you could have the perfect process and the worst swinging of your life could come out. That's what's so fun. You don't know which swing you're pulling out at any given time, and they're all going to be a little different. And how we navigate that around a golf course, and how we navigate that mentally, that's why this is so addicting, right? Yeah, it looks like Chris agrees. Feed off the nervous energy, rely on the practice you've done, and make the shots you can make. Yeah, I think that's right. One of the things I can distinctly remember the first time I ever did it in a tournament. I was hitting a 5-wood into a par 5, and I hit it to like 20 feet and made eagle. But right before I hit the shot, I told myself, well, you know what this feels like? What would it feel like to hit a great shot right now? Like, what would that feel like? And you can't always get to that place to be able to channel it so directly like that. But that was, in that moment, just, I had the feeling of like, well, I would just, this is the swing I would make, and it would come out on this line. And so I guess what I'm kind of getting at is visualizing, which again is a great way to, connect this, the physical aspect of hitting the ball with the mental aspect of, being committed and feeling present. So I don't know if any of that's helpful, but that's some of my perspective. Hey, Knucklehead, what's up, dude? Knucklehead's been one of our OG supporters, checking out the live streams and the videos. So I was asking, yeah, we do have a few videos now. Um, out on the course and practicing. When we first started, it was mostly inside because again, winter. So I was starting my journey, in trying to recommit to my game in January, which is a tough time to do that. But started out with a lot of simulator golf over the winter. Um, and now starting to transition, out into outdoor range sessions and practicing and getting to play on the course. Um, so yeah, no, we're just going to be documenting the whole journey, right? I mean, the elevator pitch is, trying to get better at golf, and why not bring you guys along for the journey? And I've talked about it on the streams before, and like for somebody like Knucklehead, this will be repetitive, but I like to think about this channel as using golf as a container to talk about other more important things. I mean, if you guys have been hanging out on the stream, you've probably noticed I talked about lots of stuff that isn't just hitting a white ball around. Um, I do have a pretty unique life experience that lends itself to sharing some of that perspective, and I'm going to keep doing that on the channel, even if it definitely doesn't perform. I'll share, kind of sneak behind the curtain. Like I talk about sobriety and therapy and mental health and stuff, and those videos get a fraction of the traction that like a silly video of me hitting a driver would get. But I just don't really care. It's important to me, and that is one of my main goals with the channel. So um, I'm going to keep talking about it. I think it's important that there are people who are willing to talk about hard things. And if that means that I have to be one of them, then here we are. It'd be yelling off the top of your soapbox when you got to go for the second water. Just the confidence to step up to a putt and feel like I know it's going to start on line. I mean, that's why you should get one of these drill stations. Even if you just got the mat, right? This is called a well stroke, I think. I don't get paid for any of this stuff. Maybe I should find a way to do that. But this is great because it's just you get to combine the, referential, training, the arc trainer with the functional, did I roll the ball on my intended line through the gate? I think it's just an awesome combo. Hey, Cooley Bob, what's up, dude? Been a minute. Another OG ticket holder on the channel, Cooley Bob. Has been hanging out since some of the original streams. Yeah, I appreciate it, Sly. Thank you. I agree with your perspective. And you know what? It's not even so much about the performance as it is some of the like negativity that comes with that stuff. And again, I just don't care. Like I think it's important. I'm gonna keep doing it. And what I wanted to say was, it's okay if it's not for everyone. Like, I had plenty of times in my life where if I had seen somebody like me talking about how drinking was bad for you, I'd be like, oh, turn it off. I don't care. I'm just gonna go party. That's fine. That's not for you. Or at least maybe not right now. And that's okay. I think I'm hoping to build an audience of people that, my message resonates. And if that's not you, that's okay. It's not going to be for everyone. See you, Cooley Bob. Thanks for checking out the stream, my dude. Whoa, that is the time, isn't it? Wow. Well, it looks like we're going to hit maybe a few more putts here and then save some energy for tomorrow's stream. Again, just trying to feel this. Maybe I should get like an actual string and just hold it onto my hat, and I could feel like if my hat's coming off, I'm too collapsing. Posture's collapsing. Like Inception, the dream is collapsing. These are going right in the center too. So lots to be encouraged about with the game and the putting and the stroke. The swing too. I mean, just looking at my swing from a year ago on video to the swing now, I mean, it's honestly jarring. Like, I was saying to somebody recently, like, I don't know. I looked at my old swing. I'm like, I don't know how he's hit the ball. And I played really good golf with a pretty bad swing for a long time. And I just have finally had the time to give it the attention and the time it needs to get it to a better place. So, really grateful for all the support, guys. That's going to be it for today's stream. But come back tomorrow. We're going to do another one of these, it sounds like. And we'll catch you there. Swing hard always, guys. We'll see you next time.